Chapter 17. We shop for waterbeds. It was Annabeth's idea. She loaded us into the Las Vegas taxi as if we actually had money and told the driver, Los Angeles, please. The cabbie chewed his cigar and sized us up. That's 300 miles. For that, you gotta pay up front. You accept casino debit cards? Annabeth asked. He shrugged. Some of them seem as credit cards. I gotta swipe them first, though. Annabeth handed him her green Lotus cash card. He looked at it skeptically. Swipe it, Annabeth said. He did. His meter machine started rattling. The lights flashed. Finally, an infinity symbol came up by the dollar sign. The cigar fell out of the driver's mouth. He looked back at us with his eyes wide. We're in Los Angeles, your highness. The Santa Monica Pier, Annabeth said. She sat up a little straighter. I could tell she liked the your highness thing. Get us there as fast as you can keep the change. Maybe she shouldn't have told him that. The cab speedometer never dipped below 95 miles per hour the whole way through the desert. On the road, we had plenty of time to talk. I told Annabeth and Grover about my latest dream, but the details got sketchier the more I tried to remember them. The Lotus Casino seemed to have a short-circuited my memory. I couldn't recall what the invisible servant's voice had sounded like, though. I was sure it was nobody I knew. The servant had called the monster in the pit something other than my lord, some special name or title. The silent one, Annabeth said. The rich one? Both of these are nicknames for Hades. Maybe, I thought, but neither sounded quite right. That throne room sounds like Hades, Grover said. That's the way it's usually described. I shook my head. Something's wrong. The throne room wasn't the main part of the dream. And the voice from the pit, I don't know, it just didn't feel like a god's voice. Annabeth's eyes widened. What? Oh, nothing. I was just, no, it has to be Hades. Maybe he sent the thief, the invisible person, to get the Master Bolt, or something went wrong. Like what? I don't know. But if he stole Zeus's symbol of power from Olympus and the gods were hunting him, I mean, a lot of things could go wrong. So this thief had to hide the bolt, or he lost it somehow. Maybe he failed to bring it to Hades. That's what the voice said in your dream, right? The guy failed. That would explain why the Furies were searching for him. And they came after us on the bus. Maybe they thought we had retrieved the bolt. I wasn't sure what was wrong with her. She looked pale. But if I'd already retrieved the bolt, why would I be traveling to the underworld? To threaten Hades, Grover said. To bribe or blackmail him into getting your mom back, I whistled. You have evil thoughts for a goat. Why, thank you. But the thing in the pit said it was waiting for 2 items. I said, if the Master Bolt is one, what's the other one, boys? Percy, let's not talk about it, because it's got to be Hades. It has to be. Wasteland rolled by. We passed a sign that said California State Line, 12 miles. I got a feeling I was missing one simple, critical piece of information. It was like when I started a common word I should know, but I couldn't make sense of it because 1 or 2 letters were floating around. The more I thought about my class, the more I was sure confronting Hades wasn't the real answer. There was something else going on, something even more dangerous. The problem was we were hurling toward the underworld at 95 miles an hour, betting that Hades had a master bolt. If we got there and found out we were wrong, we wouldn't have time to correct ourselves. The solstice deadline would pass and war would begin. The answer is in the underworld, Annabeth assured me. You saw spirits of the dead, Percy. There's only one place that could be. We're doing the right thing. She tried to boost our morale by suggesting clever strategies for getting into the land of the dead, but my heart wasn't in it. There was just too many unknown factors. It was like cramming for a test without knowing the subject, and believe me, I'd done that enough times. The cab sped west. Every gust of wind through Death Valley sounded like a spirit of the dead. Every time the brakes hissed on this 18-wheeler, it reminded me of Echidna's reptilian voice. At sunset, the taxi dropped us at the beach in Santa Monica. It looked exactly the way LA beaches do in the movies, only it smelled way worse. There was carnival rides riding the pier, palm trees lining the sidewalks, homeless guys sleeping in the sand dunes, and surfer dudes waiting for the perfect wave. Grover, Annabeth, and I walked to the edge of the surf. What now? Annabeth said. The Pacific was turning gold in the setting sun. I thought about how long it had been since I stood on the beach in Montauk, to the opposite side of the country, looking at a different sea. How could there be a God who could control all of this? What did my science teacher used to say? 2/3 of the Earth's surface is covered in water. How could I be the son of someone that powerful? I stepped into the surf. Percy, Annabeth said, what are you doing? I kept walking up to my waist on my chest. She called after me. You know how polluted that water is. There's all kinds of toxic. That's when my head went under. I held my breath first. It's difficult to intentionally inhale water. Finally, I couldn't stand it anymore. I gasped. Woo, sure enough, I could breathe normally. I walked down into the shoals. I shouldn't have been able to see through the murk, but somehow I could tell where everything was. I could sense the rolling texture of the sandbars. I could even see the currents, warm and cold, streams swirling together. I felt something rub against my leg. I looked down and almost shot out of the water like a ballistic missile. Sliding along beside me was a 5-foot-long mako shark. But the thing wasn't attacking. It was nuzzling me, heeling like a dog. Tentatively, I touched its dorsal fin. It bucked a little, as if inviting me to hold tighter. I grabbed the fin with both my hands. It took off, pulling me along. The shark carried me down into the darkness. It deposited me at the edge of the ocean proper, where the sandbank dropped into a huge chasm. It was like standing at the rim of a Grand Canyon at midnight, not being able to see much, but knowing the void was right there. The surface shimmered maybe 150 feet above. I knew I should have been crushed by the pressure. Then again, I shouldn't be able to breathe. I was wondering if there was a limit to how deep I could go, if I could sink straight to the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. Then I saw something glimmering in the darkness below, growing bigger and brighter as it rose toward me. A woman's voice, like my mother's, called, Percy Jackson. As she got closer, her shape became clearer. She had flowing black hair, a dress made of green silk. Light flickered all around her, and her eyes were so distractingly beautiful, I hardly noticed the stallion-sized seahorse she was riding. She dismounted. The seahorse and the mako shark whisked off and started playing something that looked like tag. The underwater lady smiled at me. You've come so far, Percy Jackson. Well done. I wasn't sure what to do, so I bowed. You're the woman who spoke to me in the Mississippi River. Yes, child, I'm a Nereid, a spirit of the sea. It was not easy to appear so far upriver, but the Naiads, my freshwater cousins, helped me sustain my life force. They honor Lord Poseidon, though they do not serve in his court. And you serve in Poseidon's court. She nodded. It's been many years since a child of the great sea god born. We have watched you with great interest. Suddenly, I remembered faces in the waves of Montauk Beach when I was a little boy, reflections of smiling women. Like so many of the weird things in my life, I'd never given it much thought before. If my father is so interested in me, I said, why isn't he here? Why doesn't he just speak to me? A cold current rose out of the depths. Do not judge the Lord of the Sea too harshly, the Nereid told me. He stands at the brink of the unwanted war. He has much to occupy his time. Besides, it is forbidden to help you directly. The gods may not show much favoritism, even to his own kid. Especially to his own kid. The gods can only work in direct influence. That is why I gave you a warning and a gift. She held out her hand. 3 white pearls flashed in her palm. I know you journey to Hades' realm. Few mortals have ever done this and survived. Orpheus, who had great music skills, Hercules, who had great strength, Houdini, who could escape even the depths of Tartarus. Do you have these talents? No. Ah, but you have something else, Percy. You have gifts you have only begun to know. The oracles have foretold a great and terrible future for you. Should you survive to manhood, Poseidon would not have you die before your time. Therefore, take these, and when you are in need, smash a pearl at your feet. Well, what will happen? That depends on the need, but remember, what belongs to the sea will always return to the sea. What about the warning? Her eyes flickered with green light. Go with what your heart tells you, and you will lose all. Hades feeds on doubt and hopelessness. He will trick you if he can, make you mistrust your own judgment. Once you are in his realm, he will never willingly let you leave. Keep faith. Good luck, Percy Jackson. She summoned her seahorse and rode it to the void. Wait, I called. At the river, you said not to trust the gifts. What gifts? Goodbye, young hero, she called back, her voice fading. You must learn and listen to your heart. She became a speck of glowing green, and then she was gone. I wanted to follow her down into the darkness. I wanted to see the court of Poseidon. But I looked up, and the sunset darkening on the surface. My friends were waiting, and I had little time. I kicked up toward the shore. When I reached the beach, my clothes dried instantly. I told Grover and Annabeth what had happened and showed them the pearls. Annabeth grimaced. No gifts come without a price. They were free. No, she said. There's no such thing as a free lunch. That's an ancient Greek saying that's translated pretty well into American. There will be a price. You wait. On that happy thought, we turned our backs to the sea. With some spare change from Aries' backpack, we took the bus to West Hollywood. I showed the driver the underworld address slip I'd taken from Auntie M's Garden Gnome Emporium. But he'd never heard of DOA recording studios. You remind me of someone I saw on TV, he said. You a child actor, something like that? Yeah, I'm a stunt double for child actors, I said. Oh, that explains it. We thanked him and got off quickly to our next stop. We wandered for miles on foot looking for DOA. Nobody seemed to know where it was. It didn't appear to be in the phone book. Twice we ducked into alleys to avoid cop cars. I froze in front of an appliance store window because the television was playing an interview with someone who looked very familiar. It was my stepdad, Gabe. He was talking to Barbara Walters, as if he were some kind of huge celebrity. She was interviewing him in my apartment in the middle of a poker game. And there was a young blonde lady sitting next to him, patting his hand. A fake tear glistened on his cheek. He was saying, oh, it's Miss Walters. If it wasn't for my sugar here, my grief counselor, I'd be a wreck. My stepson took everything I cared about my wife, my Camaro. Oh, I'm sorry. I have trouble talking about it. There you have it, America. Barbara Walters turned to the camera. A man torn apart, an adolescent boy with a serious issue. Let me show you again the last photo of this troubled young fugitive, taken a week ago in Denver. The screen cut to a grainy shot of Annabeth, me, and Grover standing by the Colorado diner, talking to Aries. Who are the other children in this photo? Barbara Walters asked dramatically. Who is the man with them? Is Percy Jackson a delinquent, a terrorist, or perhaps a brainwashed victim of a frightening new cult? When we come back, we chat with the leading child psychologist. Stay tuned, America. Come on, Grover told me. He hauled me away before I could punch a hole in the appliance store window. It got dark, and hungry-looking characters started coming out to the streets to play. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a New Yorker. I don't scare easily, but LA has a totally different feel than New York. Back home, everything seemed close. It didn't matter how big the city was. You could get anywhere without getting lost. The street pattern in the subway made sense. There was a system of how things worked. A kid could be safe as long as he wasn't stupid. LA wasn't like that. It was spread out, chaotic, hard to move around. It reminded me of Aries. It wasn't enough for LA to be big. It had to prove it was big by being loud and strange and difficult to navigate too. I didn't know how we were ever going to find the entrance to the underworld by tomorrow, the summer solstice. We passed gangbangers, bums, and street hawkers who looked at us like we were trying to figure out if we were worth the trouble of mugging. As we hurried past the entrance of the alley, a voice from darkness said, "Hey!" Like an idiot, I stopped. Before I knew it, we were all surrounded. A gang of kids had circled us, 6 of them all, white kids with expensive clothes and mean faces, like the kids at Yancey Academy, rich brats playing at being bad boys. Instinctively, I uncapped Riptide. The sword appeared out of nowhere. The kids backed off, but their leader was either really stupid or really brave because he kept coming at me with the switchblade. I made the mistake of swinging. The kid yelped, but he must have been 100% mortal because the blade passed harmlessly through his chest. He looked down. What the? I figured I had about 3 seconds before the shock turned to anger. Run! I screamed to Annabeth and Grover. We pushed two kids out of the way and raced down the street, not knowing where we were going. We turned a sharp corner. There! Annabeth said. Only one store on the block looked open, its windows glaring with neon. The sign above the door said something like Krusty's Waterbed Krusty's Waterbed Palace, Grover said. It didn't sound like a place I'd ever go except in an emergency, but it's definitely qualified. We burst through the doors, ran to the waterbed, and ducked. A split second later, the gang of kids passed outside. I think we lost him, Grover panted. A voice behind us boomed. Oh, lost who? We all jumped. Standing back was a guy who looked like a raptor in a leisure suit. He was at least 7 feet tall with absolutely no hair. He had gray, leathery skin, thick-lidded eyes, and cold reptilian smile. He moved toward us slowly, but I got a feeling he could move fast if he needed to. His suit might have come from the Lotus Casino. It belonged back in the 70s, big time. The shirt was silk paisley, unbuttoned halfway down his hairless chest. The lapels on his velvet jacket were as wide as landing strips. The silver chains around his neck, I couldn't even count them. Oh, I'm Krusty, he said with tartar yellow smile. I resisted the urge to say, yes, you are Krusty. Sorry to barge in, I said. We were just browsing. You mean hiding from those no-good kids? They hang around every night. I get a lot of people in here thanks to them. Say, you want to look at a waterbed? I was about to say no thanks, but he put a huge paw on my shoulder and steered me deeper into the showroom. There was every kind of waterbed you could imagine, different kinds of wood, different patterns of sheets, queen size, king size, emperor of the universe size. This is my most popular model. Krusty spread his hands properly over the bed covered in black satin sheets with a built-in lava lamp on the headboard. The mattress vibrated, so it looked like oil-filled jelly. Million hand massage, Krusty said. Go on, try it out. Shoot, take a nap. I don't care. No business today, anyway. I said, I don't think. Million hand massage! Grover then cried, oh, you guys, this is so cool. Krusty said, almost. Almost what? He looked at Annabeth. Do me a favor and try this one over here, honey. Might fit. Annabeth said, but what? He patted her reassuringly on the shoulder and led her over to the Safari Deluxe model of teakwood lions carved into a frame of a leopard pattern comforter. When Annabeth didn't want to lie down, Krusty pushed her. Hey! She protested. Krusty snapped his finger. Urgh. Rope sprang from the sides of the bed, lashing around Annabeth, tying her to the mattress. Grover tried to get up, but rope swung on the black satin bed too and tied him down. Not cool at all. The giant looked at Annabeth, then turned toward me and said, oh, almost, darn it. I tried to step away, but his hand shot out and clamped around the back of my neck. Well, kid, don't worry. We'll find you one in a sec. Let my friends go. Oh, sure I will, but I gotta make them fit first. What do you mean? All the beds are exactly 6 feet. Your friends are too short. We gotta make them fit. Annabeth and Grover kept struggling against the ropes. Can't stand imperfect measurements. Oh, go. A new set of ropes leaped out of the top and bottom of the beds, wrapping around Annabeth and Grover's ankles, then around their armpits. The ropes started tightening, pulling my friends on both ends. Don't worry. These are stretching jobs, maybe 3 extra inches on their spine when I stretch them out. They might even survive. Now, why don't we find a bed you like, kid? Percy! Grover yelled. My mind was racing. I knew I couldn't take on this giant waterbed salesman alone. He would snap my neck before I ever got my sword out. Your real name is Krusty, is it? I asked. Legally, it's Procrustes, he admitted. The stretcher. I said I remember the story. The giant who tried to kill people by excessive hospitality on his way to Athens. Yeah? But who can pronounce that? Bad for business. Now, Krusty, anyone can say that. You're right, it's a good ring to it. His eyes lit up. You think so? Oh, absolutely. And the workmanship on these beds is fabulous. He grinned hugely, but his fingers didn't loosen on my neck. I tell my customers that every time. Nobody bothers to look at my workmanship. How many built-in lava lamp headphones have you seen? Oh, I have not seen many. That's right. Percy, what are you doing? Annabeth said. Oh, don't mind her. She's impossible, I said to Krusty. The giant laughed. All my customers are. They're never 6 feet exactly, so inconsiderate. Then they complain when I stretch them out to fit it. Oh, that What do you do if they're longer than 6 feet? Oh, that happens all the time. It's a simple fix. He let go of my neck, but before I could react, he reached behind a desk and brought out a double-bladed brass axe. He said, I'll just center the subject as best I can, and I'll cut off their legs so they fit. Oh, that's sensible, I said. I'm so glad to come across such an intelligent customer. The ropes were really stretching my friends now. Annabeth was turning pale. Grover made gurgling sounds like a strangled goose. So crusty, I said, trying to make my voice light. I glanced at the sales tag on the Valentine-shaped honeymoon special. Does this one really have dynamic stablers? Absolutely, try it. Yeah, maybe I will, but would it work even for a big guy like you? No waves at all? Guaranteed. No way. Way. Show me. He sat down on the bed, patted the mattress. See, no waves? I snapped my fingers. Oh, go. Ropes went all around Krusty and flattened him against the mattress. Hey! He yelled. Center him just right, I said. The ropes readjusted themselves at my command. Krusty's whole head stuck out the top. His feet stuck out the bottom. No, he said, wait, this is just a demo. I uncapped Riptide. A few simple adjustments. I had no qualms about what I was going to do. If Krusty were human, I couldn't hurt him anyway. If he were a monster, he deserved to turn to dust for a while. You drive a hard bargain, he told me. I'll give you 30% off select floor models. I think I'll start with the top, I said, raising my sword. No, money down, no interest for 6 months. I swung the sword. Krusty stopped making offers. I cut the ropes on the other beds. Annabeth and Grover got to their feet, groaning and wincing and cursing at me. You look taller, I said. Very funny, Annabeth said. Be faster next time. I looked at the bulletin board where Krusty's sale desk was. There was an advertisement for Hermes delivery service and another for an all-new compendium of LA area monsters. So only monstrous yellow pages you'll ever need. Under that, a bright orange flyer for DOA Recording Studios, offering commission for Heroes' Souls. We are always looking for new talent. The address was right under the map. Come on, I told my friends. Give us a minute, Grover complained. We almost were stretched to death. Then you're ready for the underworld, I said. It's only a block from here.